What's up, After Buzzers? Welcome to the Deception After Show. This is episode 2, Forced Perspective. We have 3 great things for you tonight. We're talking Russians, we're talking romance-ish, and we're talking slight reveals. Stay tuned. Come on back, you guys.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
This song is so crazy to me, but I love it. All right, you guys, what's up, people? I'm Erika Edwards, and welcome to the Deception After Show. And I couldn't do it without my lovely panelists, so ladies, introduce yourselves.
Hey guys, I'm Chae Jones.
Hey, it's me, Chae.
Hey. All right, you guys, we're going to get right into it. First of all, ladies, what did you think overall of the entire episode?
I find the team is really gelling, and he's finding his steps as he figures out how to be less of a selfish nitwit.
I loved it overall. I love magic. Even with the reveals, like I said, I love how it reminds me of Now You See Me, but in a different way, because they're actually trying to fight the criminals and use their powers for good and not bad. Or join a secret society like in the movie.
Okay.
But overall, I love the idea that magic is about angles, like you said, and it is about a forced perspective. Like we love to be tricked by magic.
Right.
We love that deception of it. Like that's what makes magic so magical in and of itself. So I love that he's really like driving home the point that we think life's great. It's not always great. So like it's kind of like forcing us to like really just take that deep breath and be just like, yeah, I'm guilty of that too.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Overall, I really enjoyed the episode. I like the lightness to it, even though this time they actually had murder. So I was like, ooh, okay, they're trying to get a hardcore. That was nice. And so I do like the magic. I'm not I like magic, I like David Copperfield or Blaine or those people, but I'm not all in on the magic, but I do love it. And what I don't like the reveals. Like every time I'm like with Alvarez, like, oh, you're ruining it, okay? I'm not going to Vegas now. But what I do find interesting is how it's magical and it's fun, but it's still the same formula of a police procedural, and that's what I like cop shows, I like lawyer shows, so I do like the format. So we start off as in any good crime story with a dead body, but not initially the guy's jogging and he gets sprayed with the spray gun, and it seems like it's fun until he's dead. And then we go into the twins talking. So what did you guys think about the beginning of the episode?
I mean, I wouldn't thought if I was jogging and somebody just first of all squirted me with the water from us, I would have took that and sprayed you in your face with it. Got you my ass.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. I don't play them games. I don't know who you thought this was, but we don't play that here.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I was a little bit surprised. So I was like, this is New York. So, yeah, I don't see you spraying people in the face, especially crime lawyers, and they just being like, like this guy, he took it in stride. What did you think about it?
He was a little too chill about someone spraying something in his face. I'd have been pissed.
Right.
But then again, I always try and act all chill and pleasant, so I probably would have been like, cut it out, kid. And that would have been, I wouldn't have chased him down or squirted it.
Yeah, I might have hit him. I mean, I'm very suburban or whatever, but every so often I get ethnic, and water in my face would be one of those times.
Especially if you got it on my hair.
I know, right? Exactly. You get to the sister's hair, then it's really, those are some different words.
But what I actually found interesting was that the fact that the water base was a poison. Like, I don't know why I didn't think you could, use poison in water for some reason. Like, I don't know why they didn't compute to me. I just found that was an interesting way to, and the fact that it's clear that you could do it in that way and have it actually be a weapon. Like water's now a weapon.
Exactly, and it seemed to me when I found intriguing about the water-based was, I mean, I guess it was only not minutes before he actually died, but it didn't seem like it had any flavor or taste to it either, because he seemed like, oh, it's water, I'm good, it's no big deal, and then something happened. So I agree with you. I thought the watering poison aspect was a unique twist. So the twins are meeting and they're going over the FBI pitch. Yeah, I don't know. We discussed this again last week. His twin work is okay. I'm kind of glad that these scenes are a little bit limited, because I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm seeing Cameron in different outfits. But how do you guys
Seriously?
feel?
I actually love I can actually see the difference when he's Jonathan, because Jonathan's a little bit more edgy than Cameron is. Like, Cameron's very clean cut. He loves wearing suits, and even though like they were twins, they obviously still have their different personalities. And Jonathan is definitely more edgy. He's not afraid of a fight, and protecting was his. So, and that way I can see the differences between them both. Like, he's very unruly. His hair is wilder and crazier.
He's also in prison. But go ahead, girl. You're right. I'm just saying, maybe he doesn't have the same access as Cameron. And that
okay, so if he gets out, then we can discuss that. But now that he's in prison,
exactly.
the differences are still the same. Like, he's definitely more edgy. He's the one that, like, they're twins. So, like, he needs his brother, to be there for him. He doesn't care about the FBI. He cares about his brother. He believes in his brother, and that's all they've had for 30 years.
I did like that part
of each other, so I love that.
What did you think?
I'm enjoying it, but if I was the one in prison and I knew I was innocent, I'd want to escape. Screw waiting for justice, whatever. I like their interplay. I like that he's really working on making the characters distinct. I do agree with you. There's too much reveal. There's too much talking. I prefer a little bit more mystery in my magic. But I loved his interaction with other people this time around, especially the kid throwing the paper planes out. I like the explanation, but I also like the way he brought him out, which was a little bit differently than I think how the FBI agent would have done it.
Yeah, because kids love magic, and like you say, you hate the reveals, but there's certain times where he doesn't reveal anything, and like it also.
Yeah, and I feel like those are some of the best parts of the show, in my opinion, at least with the magic tip. I love it when it's just magic and it's fine. Like I don't need to know.
That was lit. I legit want to know how that sword, like, kind of like with one hand down, only like 2 fingers, like you just kept it straight. Like, I need information.
Yeah, see, now I'm good. Good job. So then we go to him actually pitching the FBI, and he's, of course, he's doing smoke, and people start choking. So this is kind of like in the first episode. He always has that first trick that's supposed to be spellbinding, and then there's a mistake.
Well, because he's treating the pitch like if it was a TV production, and that's the first mistake he's made. Because this is obviously the FBI. They don't deal in like in TV magic. They don't care. If you're gonna come to them for help, do it straight.
Exactly. And I felt like it's interesting because they've already sort of worked with him. So I'm in between on the special agent Deacons. Like, 1 minute she's trying to be all hardcore, and then like pretty quickly she'll just be like, okay, come to our meetings and stuff. So I don't know. What are your feelings about that? Because it's like, yeah, I want to prove to you that you're going to hire me and all my support staff. So it's not just him consulting, it's everybody. But
yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I think they're trying to set up a love interest, sexual tension, but I don't really see that. They'd probably be better as friends. But some of the things that he brings to the table, it's like, well, that's kind of like common sense that you'd ask random people walking by. But I did like his phrasing when he said, everything I've learned from watching TV shows. And I'm like, yeah, that's how I've learned how to be a police officer too. Yeah.
Exactly. So they go and they're interviewing the witnesses, and then we come to the scene with the, because we're at the murder scene, and we come to the scene where they're trying to find out who was walking by, and yeah, Cameron is so brilliant. He tells them, we should, it's a stage, and they're filming it from across the street, and, we have to interview people on this street corner. So in the gist of all the interviews, they end up interviewing a young kid, and that's the part again where they kind of like in the first episode where you see Kay and Cameron kind of their interaction with the witnesses and stuff. And I think that is like a very strong portion of the show. Like, I think that kind of brings a little bit of humanity, that kind of brings it more to the real real world a little bit for me. And so I loved his kind of play with the child and the magic and kind of using that to bring the kid out of his shell. So what were your thoughts?
Because what kid doesn't like magic? Of course that was going to work. He's a little, like, under 10-year-old kid. He's going to love magic. Like, there's a Disney TV star from Disney Channel, and he's obsessed with magic. Like, the boy can do so many card tricks, and it's astounding. He's only 13, but his tricks are awesome. He performs at Magic Castle, and I'm just like, I'm spellbound by what he can do at only 13 with magic tricks. Like, I don't even care how you did it. I want more. Like, that's how I feel. So as a kid, like, he's like, okay, now maybe I want to be in magic. Maybe I want to learn some tricks on how to, like, make a paper airplane actually fly from. Technically, like, he did make them fly. They just flew out the window and fell straight to the ground. Just saying. Like, he did it right. It's just gravity took over, and they couldn't go no further.
Indeed, indeed. So, since we're speaking of learning, here's something special that we have for you guys. You want to have fun, learn, and grow in all areas of your life. For those who do, we have a podcast for you. Conversations with Maria Menounos, podcast edition, is hosted by our AfterBuzz TV founder and drops every Friday on iTunes. Conversations with Maria Menounos features celebrity and influencer interviews, along with secrets and tips on how to be better in all aspects of your life, from health and wellness to career and relationships, finances, and more. Let our Maria be the big sister you never had. And I've never had one, so I need it. Just go to iTunes and subscribe to Conversations with Maria Menounos for free. Be sure to rate and comment. And when you do, let Maria know that it was us here at Deception who got you there. Conversations with Maria Menounos, podcast edition. Check it out.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Woo! All right, you guys. So getting back to it. Okay, so the little kid gives them their next tip that kind of leads them on to their next hunt, their next chase. And meanwhile, they have so Cameron's sort of working with Chae. They're like partnering up, but yeah, he's not hired yet or not on the payroll. He's just kicking it with her. I guess it's like, yeah, now he's not quite part of the team yet, but the kid gives them this symbol, and they hunt down the symbol. Let's see. And meanwhile, they're in the car, and this was interesting. So his brother Jonathan called him and is like, how did the pitch go? And I found this fascinating that he just was like, oh yeah, it was great. And I was looking like, you his twin, he's lying, right? Like, you have to know.
Well,
Don't you all have a connection?
He took the deep breath, like, because he knows his twin can tell if he's lying. So he took a very deep breath, and then he was like, it went well. Like, he was lying it off. But like that, I think that's why he really just took that breath, because he needed that, like, I'm about to lie to you, and I know you probably can tell, but that's why I need this breath before, like, I lie to you, so you don't know I'm lying.
True.
Hopefully you don't figure it out.
Exactly.
Fingers crossed that's gonna work out. I mean, his brother needs some positivity in his life. I mean, he's in prison. He knows he didn't do it. He knows a woman's alive. And to bring back to last week, if you know you're gonna call a number that you think belongs to the person that's framing your brother, you'd think the FBI agent would record it. I don't know, but that's how I look at it.
Maybe she didn't have enough time to, like, because it came in like a little prepackaged box, and then it just rang. She could only hear it, so that's,
Yeah, well, then there's that.
I'm playing devil's advocate, okay?
Okay, so they pick up the water gunman, Noah, and they bring him back to interrogate him. And meanwhile, Cameron, who to my understanding has not yet still been hired, is watching their interview and kind of talking to Special Agent Deakins, the head honcho over there, and kind of starts to have like really compassion for the gunman's story. You know, because Gunman's like, well, I thought it was a TV. I didn't know anything. And I'm going to tell you, I'm from Chicago. I'm from the Midwest. I don't like this whole I'm a dummy from Wisconsin thing. Like, people from Wisconsin, they kill and murder people too. I mean, I'm just saying, give us Midwest folks a chance. What were you guys' thoughts about the whole interrogation of Noah?
I believed it because if you went in, answered an ad on Craigslist, we've all done it. And they said it was for a reality
Dating and
show.
otherwise. Okay, go ahead.
And he probably signed a contract. They had a film crew.
True.
You know, like
True.
it looked like it was legit. They probably paid him like, $50-$100, which makes it seem real.
Legit.
You know, hey, those women in Korea killed the North Korean dictator's brother using that trick. In real life.
True. So,
Or they were assassins, I don't know.
yeah, what did you think about Noah and his interview and all of this?
Like, obviously, like, it's his first time in New York. Why the heck would he just go around randomly shooting people with a water gun? Like, what purpose does that serve? Like, that, like, seriously, that, if I was an FBI agent, that'd be my first, like, thought. Like, you just came in from Wisconsin, and you decided to go around shooting people with a water gun. And you thought it was a joke. And you're in New York, so you might be looking to die.
Right.
So nobody's that stupid unless they believe they're like actually on a show. It's just a big joke, and we're just gonna make money off of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that people can't necessarily be that innocent, but that whole Madison, Wisconsin thing, I mean, that kind of just hit me at home. I'm like, y'all don't, Midwest people, we're not that stupid.
We're not that stupid at
I
all.
love
We're
those prank shows when I see them on YouTube.
I do like
They're
them.
hilarious.
They are hilarious.
But I
you
must
know.
admit, if someone put a dog in a giant tarantula suit scaring me, I would probably not kick the dog, but I would definitely kick the human for that movie.
Exactly.
Never kick the dog.
The interview with Noah kind of gives them additional clues and leads them to realize that that it's the Russian syndicate, which is so interesting because every time they say syndicate, in my heart, I'm like, don't you mean mafia? But okay, it's a Russian syndicate and they're looking for Sasha. And so they go back and they interview people they're back on the streets interviewing people again. And they interview the
Lancelot,
the armored, the guy in all his armor. And I think he actually, if you guys, any people on Netflix, he was actually the actor who does the hook song for Unstoppable Kimmy Schmidt. I was like, oh, I know him, because whatever.
Wow, that's
anyway,
so funny.
it's so funny. I was like, anyway, tidbit, but we have news later. Okay, so they interview him, and so he kind of identifies the lynchman for this man, Sasha. And when they go back to confirm it with Noah has passed out, which I kind of am not that surprised because he was shooting poison. So I'm a little surprised that like everybody is shocked. But what are you guys' thoughts on that?
I loved when they were in Times Square and Cameron was explaining to her like why he thought it was a prank, because if you're on TV, technically you're safe. Even though people don't believe reality TV is not scripted, because it's totally scripted, but if you think you're on TV, you can do and say whatever you want, and you don't think there are really that many consequences for what you're doing because you're on TV. And people will believe a lot of things and will do a lot of things just because they're on TV. And I loved his demonstration. You will get hurt. This is a real sword. I might hurt you. And everybody's screaming, me, because you're dumb.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I was totally disappointed that he didn't actually decapitate somebody. I was like, wait a minute, where is that? What's happening, Cameron? Time again for a magic trick. You need to cut somebody's head off. But that was just my thing. What were your thoughts?
You cannot chop someone's head off in New York City.
No, but it's magic. They don't actually be chopped off. That's the thing. Abracadabra.
And where's the time to switch the head with the fake head? Like
Yes,
what time? Like
there's no
if you're gonna
time.
do that, that's some planning you really have to go into. Like there's so many like little T's and I's that need to be crossed and dotted for that to actually be a real thing. I think it'd be dope if somebody's head actually did get decapitated, but we need to work on it.
I thought it was really cool. I love the I didn't know who the bad guys were going to end up being, and the little
Right.
twist of it being the Russian syndicate / mob was fun.
Yeah, I was like, I need mob. I'm old school. I'm like,
They said syndicate.
They said syndicate
I
like
wrote
85
mafia.
times. They said syndicate every single time. That's why, because every time they said, I was like, don't they mean mafia? And then I was like, well, can you put some little whatever? Send me some notes on the difference between the syndicate and the mafia.
I think it's like the same thing. They just try to pretty.
No,
it
it
up.
is the same thing, but I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm very 90s. I want my mob. I do like my mob action. So he identifies the Russian henchman, and Noah's rushed to the hospital, so he can't confirm it. So now there's like, they know who it is, but until the other guy confirms it, who's comatose because he's dying, and they can't arrest him. So then we go back and we see the interplay between Cameron's team, which I actually really like this, because I was kind of like, well, we know what Cameron does. What's everybody else going to do? And because everybody has to earn their check from the government. That's the rules. So we go back and we see Dina and Gunther and Jordan, and they're kind of discussing about how they're going to help him find the murderer. So I love the fact that Jordan is like the hacker dude. I love those people. I
He's
love them.
The biggest millennial ever. Like, let me explain something to you. Did you look up Agatha Christie? I tried to find her on Twitter. What sense does that make? Google was meant for you to just type in Agatha Christie. You didn't even have to go to Twitter for that.
Right, that line was a little forced. I was like, okay, come on, Jordan.
I need you to read Murder on Orient
Jordan.
Express. Seriously, that movie was amazing.
Yes.
That was the best of murder mystery ever. Like, just like the reveal was just like perfect. Like, shout out to her. Like, she did it, because that is at some point.
It was on point. It was, as are all 50, 80 of Agatha Christie books. They're all very, very good. I have read Orient Express and 10 Little Indians. I've read a slew of her mysteries. I love them. What were your thoughts about the team and kind of getting a feel for what each person is going to bring to the table?
I'm really enjoying getting to know the team more and more, seeing why what everyone not only is doing, but how they interact with one another.
Exactly.
I love like the playful family fighting dynamic that they have.
Yeah.
Like, one's a little brother, one's a gruff dad, one's the cool sister. 'Cause she's not a mother hen, but
Right, she's like a manager to them. She's kind of like, she kind of keeps them in line. I love that.
I actually thought of her as a mom in my head, even though, like, that's funny. Like, you said, cool sister. I'm like, actually, she was more like the mom. Like, she keeps everybody in check. She keeps everybody in line.
I felt her kind of, even though it was more of a family, I thought more of her managing them. Like, okay, all right,
Maybe the auntie.
Gunther, we're not going to actually kill people. We're trying to solve the murder,
He was
not
like,
murder
like he had a
people.
giant knife in his hand as he was he's like, yeah, like, I'm just going, I got 3 choices that might work, with this giant knife just like chilling in his hand, like all comfortably.
He's like, but this is the best one, and I loved that. Like, I actually I like the dynamic between Gunther and Jordan, the opposites, because I think that you do need that a lot of times in a team, in your staff. You need that hard core, and then you need the little smart person that can get into everybody's email. So that's always a good thing. Okay, so then they realize that Sasha's henchman, which I don't know if I even have his name in her. Mikhail, right? He owns this club, and so they come up again with their whole little sneaking in. They're gonna get into the club, and so we cut to the club scene, and Dina kind of gets in the club because. And so we get a little bit more information on Jonathan. Jonathan, I guess, was the party boy, and Cameron was like the nerd. And so it's interesting because in the first episode, I don't know if we discussed this last week, but Dina also mentions in there that she clearly had some sort of romantic relationship with Jonathan. So It's kind of like, oh, okay, well, now that my boo's in jail, now what you gonna do? You gonna get with the twin? It could happen. Anyway, so what did you guys think about the club scene? I actually really liked it. I thought it was cool how they tipped the doorman, and then the other guy pulled it back. So it wasn't quite magic. I would call it pickpocketing, but what were your thoughts?
It was a very
Sleight of hand.
This is very sleight of hand. I mean, basically, magician is a con artist in a way.
Yeah.
But I feel like in some ways the best ways, if they're not using it for malicious intent.
True.
But yeah, it's a big con. Like, in sleight of hand, when you like, what's happening over here? It's like 3-card Monty. Like, basically, what you think you seeing and what you're actually seeing are not the same.
Very, very true, very true. And that doorman was so cool because clearly that's New York and not in LA. Because in LA, you can't get in and then all the people walk behind you just walking in. Because they'll be like, you're not making good, you're not getting in. So it doesn't really happen like that. What did you think?
I loved seeing the other aspect of her personality.
Yeah.
First, she kind of sets it up with the door guy to get in. And then she's like, oh, yeah, they're with me. Boom.
Yeah.
The twins. And then when she goes inside and they all divide up to divide and conquer. And then when they go downstairs, he's like, oh, are you going to do Lucille Ball it? And she's like, yeah. Lucille
Or Marilyn.
Ball.
I legit would love to see her Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, I want to see the Marilyn
Yeah.
Monroe. But Lucille Ball was hilarious.
Classic.
So funny.
Such a good, I hadn't realized that she's such a good physical comedic actress.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun.
That was a really good moment, and exactly, like, the physical comedy of it was hilarious. So that was amazing. And so then Cameron, you know, he talks to the bartender, and finally he gets like back in the garage, and he's trapped with Mikhail, and he has to use magic to escape again. Wah! And so he like messes up Mikhail's phone, and all the thugs, they're not as impressed as the construction workers were last week, but
They were a little bit
But they
impressed.
were a little bit impressed. How did you do that? But I still felt like they were going to shoot him. And
Oh, they're definitely going to shoot him.
yeah, and meanwhile, Kay and the FBI, which is so hilarious to me that the FBI is this far behind Cameron. Like, Cameron's like, well, yeah, I'm already here, so yeah, I'll see you guys. And so they're coming in looking for Cameron just as Cameron is trapped. And once again, Cameron lets the bad guy get away.
He didn't do, first of all, Cameron ain't got no gun.
Yes.
He ain't what he gonna do? Protect himself with his own body? Like, he can't.
He was gonna spellbind them the rest of the
I'm
year.
gonna magically send you some rope and tie your own hands together, and that is how he's gonna save the day. He can't help that. I mean, he did get away. It wasn't really his fault. It was kind of more Kay's fault. He was already hidden. They couldn't find him.
Right.
So you come in guns blazing. That's a you problem that you let him get away. And I was hiding safe.
Yeah, and she does have a tendency, as she did in last episode, to start firing when she don't really have enough backup. Because I'm like, okay, how are you like, FBI, and shooting at people?
How is only two people going to serve a warrant to a known mobster's nightclub and be like, yeah, this is cool. Just the two of us, we can do it.
Yeah,
boo."
I got you, girl.
No.
No, not at all. So yeah, so
She's very self-confident, which I do like. She has the confidence of a mediocre white man.
okay.
She's always
Damn.
going in like, yes, I can do. Oh, I can't.
Okay, what I love about Cameron and Kay's relationship, it kind of reminds me of Castle.
I never really watched.
I never
Castle.
actually really watched
Like-
Castle, but I definitely feel like that's the gist of what they're trying to do, what they're attempting
Yes.
to do.
If they actually do
Will
end
they,
up like
won't
6 seasons later, we will find out. I personally just like seeing them as friends.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
I feel like right now they want, theoretically, I guess, there to be some romantic tension there, but it's not.
There's
so
none.
far, it's not.
They're just
so far,
friends. Like,
so
she
far,
likes him.
Yeah, so far, and she's starting to like magic, but that's like the most.
but
It's
she's
okay,
not
I don't think there's
interested
really
in
a
him.
sexual tension between them. Like,
No.
if anything, like even if it's there, it's like one of those slow build type things that it's just gonna like simmer and simmer and simmer.
Yeah, it's
like
right
something
now the
that-
stove's not turned on. I'm just gonna say there's no simmering, there's no.
They're in the same car. They're in the same apartment, but
Oh.
they're in different parts of the apartment. They're not
And
in the same
honestly,
room.
I feel like they're doing different things.
So, you know, Regal in the chat wants to know, how did you guys not watch Castle?
I watched it a couple of times because I love Philion, but I just never liked it. I preferred the one on CBS with the blonde guy.
Oh,
Oh.
The Mentalist?
Yes.
I did like The
mean-
Mentalist,
Love The
and
Mentalist.
I prefer to watch him in something new, but that's me.
Oh,
And I'm
yeah,
not gonna lie, I like
love
darker
that
things
movie.
like Dexter and stuff like that. So I don't know. I like people, serial killers, the killing. I don't know. I like darker things. So I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so basically, Cameron meets with this team. They come up with this plan, and then he has to meet with Jonathan. And that's what one thing I do like about the twin interaction is that Jonathan always puts in the missing pieces to what Cameron is trying to do. So part of it is his love for Jonathan. Obviously, you're in jail for me, my fault, but also he needs him to get his stuff to work. So, you know.
Like Cameron's more big picture.
Yeah.
And then Jonathan fills the blanks.
He's like, this is how it's really going to happen. And so they come up with a deception again. And what did you guys think?
I think that Jonathan and Cameron, because they were raised so oddly, neither one of them is a whole person. They're only a whole person together.
Yes.
Which is why he always relies on him to fill in his missing knowledge. Plus, I don't think that they even have a high school education.
Or maybe they just have half of an education, because I go to school Monday and Wednesdays and Thursdays, and you go Tuesdays and Fridays. So yeah.
But this one was good. I really, this episode is really gelling and sort of showing the future episodes are going to start going. I think they're not going to focus so much on the sexual tension between them. I think they're really going to focus more on the mystery and trying to figure it out. Sort of like a Scooby Gang.
Right.
Yeah. Like I enjoyed, I really do love Jonathan and Cameron's bond. Like, because they were raised as a one, not as two. And like that has to be hard because you've been doing it for 30 years.
Exactly. Now, one thing I did like about this, and I think it was the second scene, I did, even though I still feel like it's Cameron in a different outfit, I did like the fact that Jonathan kind of was like, well, yeah, I had to fight for Dad's coin or whatever. Because I was like, come on, he can't be all breezy in prison, because it's got to be like uncomfortable. So I like the fact that they kind of threw in some grittiness to it, because I think that just adds a little bit more realism to the scene. So I did actually really appreciate that. So they come up with a deception idea, and so then, you know, we cut to the scene, we find out. Now this is another thing. I don't know, like, it's a new age. I don't know why gangsters are still getting caught at their girlfriend's house. I'm a little bit surprised by that. You don't even have your phone. Why are you, and you know the FBI is after you. You don't have another side chick, I don't know. But so
Wow.
What are your thoughts about the Russian mobster only having this one girl he's got to see when the FBI is after him?
Love. That's real love for his lady.
Exciting and new.
He's a guy.
He's a romantic.
And guys are stupid most of the time, so they make stupid decisions. Like, go back for the girl instead of having the girl come to them.
I know. And then especially if she's like texting you flights and you know you ain't got your phone, you might need a new, smarter girlfriend, because I'm like, yeah, now the FBI knows where you're going because they have your phone. So that was interesting. So now I guess Deacon is finally getting on board with Cameron and his team. So they come up with a plot to deception again. And so Deacon is like, is this ready? You know, because of course Mikhail shows up because he's got to get his hoochie. So he shows up, and so then she's like, okay, you know, what do you think, Kay? And so then, you know, cuts to Kay looking like, I don't know. And then they get arrested. And then, you know, we realize that Kay actually did agree to allow Cameron to do his team to do their thing. So what did you guys think of the forced perspective deception this time?
I mean, it's true. Like, I gave you all it's like in a way, now you see me. Like, I gave you all the little pieces, the crumbs that you needed to believe what you wanted to believe. I just set the stage for you. I left you just a little bit of each little thing so that leads you to this, like, oh, I got hit with a water gun. Okay, I could be poisoned. I could die. So now I have to get the antidote for myself so I don't die.
Right.
Yeah, I gave you exactly everything you needed to hear just to get everything I needed from you.
Yes. And what did you think?
I thought it was really interesting, but since they knew he was a criminal, they really should have put him in handcuffs to the hospital bed. But
that's a mistake.
That was, I think, as far as them tricking him into giving them information, it was really funny fastly paced.
Yeah,
It was such a fun thing to watch.
exactly.
It looks like they put a lot of thought into it, and I liked it. It was really fun. If that had been longer part of the episode, I think it would have made the episode even more fun.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed it. As an attorney, I'm not so convinced that his confession stands up in court. I just am not. But it worked really well, and I thought it would be great, especially since poor Wisconsin Noah is dying and needs the antidote. So Mikhail gives up the antidote, and then they get Noah squared away, and they kind of just all leave the room and forget that he's a criminal, and so he takes Dina hostage. And, eventually she does her powwow. Now, this is what I was going to say as a slight reveal. To me, a couple of times in there, Alvarez is kind of like noticing Dina. So that's where I feel like there's going to be some tension, because right when she like escapes, Mikhail, he's kind of like the one that catches her and saves her. So they have a little romantic moment. So I kind of really like that. And then, they use this thing to get Mikhail to turn in who the big boss is, which I was kind of surprised that he actually did.
I mean, either way, he's dead.
Well, yeah, but there's another episode. We'll be on something next week different. But yeah, so exactly. What did you guys think about the whole ending, the wrap up?
For Alvarez and Dina, I'm still curious. I don't know, because he has two boys, so I'm curious. Is he married or not? That's a factor for me. If he's separated or divorced, that's also a factor. It'd be interesting to see. Like this Hispanic guy and this British lady. Like, I would just love to see that and her interaction with his two boys, just to see how that goes. As for the big reveal, I'm just like, dude, like, legit, like, you can give them now, or I can just let you go to your own death. So yes. you seriously, like, that, and that's a good choice. Like, either you're gonna tell me who Sasha is, because obviously or I can just send you out into the world and they will find you and kill you.
Yeah, and more importantly, I'm gonna make them think you talked to me anyway, dude. So do what you want to do. Yeah. So that was cool, and it turns out to be the bartender, which I thought was a cute twist. I really liked that twist at the end.
Yeah, the actual, like, that's a I have to give, like Alvarez said, that's a very good cover, because everybody tells the bartender everything. The bartender is your therapist, if you drink, and he has all the ins and outs.
Yeah, that was really clever to make him the bartender, because seeing him talk to the mobsters would have been normal, because they'd be saying, I want this drink, I need to get in the back. Exactly. And when he told Cameron when he came in, you don't belong here, he knew he didn't belong here because he's a mobber. He's like, I know who's supposed to be in here. You're not supposed to be in here. And he told him to leave, and that was when they told him to go in the back. That was fun. That was really fun. And when they came and then, like, at the end when they're showing him transforming from being the bartender to being the mob boss, getting his jacket on, even his shoulders kind of like stood up. I was like, yeah, you're the boss.
Yes, that was totally cool. And so then finally we have the final scene, which last episode it was a party. This episode it's a dinner, so they have this little celebration scene at the end, which I really think is kind of cool, where they kind of tie together all the little loose ends. And, we find out that the team has actually been hired, which is great. I guess, Trump is doing wonderful things with our tax money. No,
it's not.
Who's to say we're living in Trump's America? I mean, it could be, but I'm just saying.
Fair enough. Okay, so they're hired. And so but that was my whole question too. I'm like, well, I'm glad they're working, but how is this going to help get his brother out of jail? So he has a discussion with Kay about, are you really going to help me? And because his brother has a point. I trust you, but why does the FBI care about us? They don't. They're trying to solve crimes. So what were your guys' thoughts on the closer?
I loved her reveal that, her sister was had an overdose. That was her first body she ever saw when she wasn't an FBI agent. Yeah. Because obviously that had a profound effect on her, and it explains a little bit more about her character and why she is the way she is. It definitely why she's like going after drug cartels and things like that.
Very, very true.
So I really got to see a little bit more of Kay and a little bit more of vulnerability, and that's why I actually really love that.
Okay, what did you do?
I liked it. I liked the way she obviously had already started looking into it, because if you're an FBI agent, you like mysteries, and hearing that a woman framed somebody with two eyes, that would spark my curiosity. So she was obviously going to investigate it no matter what. And I like the way he only mentions his kids. He never mentions his wife or his girlfriend or anything. So the wife is either dead. I think the wife is dead. The way he talks about the children, they live with him like full time.
Yeah.
So I think the wife is dead, and there'll be some romantic backstory that we'll be hearing about really soon.
I agree. And then what I really loved was the total closer. Like, I love that, you know, Chae had already come up with her. In my mind, I'm a writer. I think I call it a storyboard, but a murder wall.
Yeah.
And then I love it when they cut to the nemesis, the person they're chasing, and her board is like phenomenal and way, way bigger.
It's
and I
the
was
entire
like,
window of
it's
her
the entire
apartment.
window. So I was like, well, obviously she had to have a ladder to get the places up top. But I love I love the view of it. I loved it. It was great. It was great. Okay, you guys. So before we get out of here, we're gonna do a little bit of news and gossip. Okay, you guys. So if you haven't found, if you're not getting enough of our actors on this show, both Jack Cutmer Scott, is that?
Cutmer
Scott.
Yeah, I'm looking
He
at it.
has a movie on Netflix that's on Netflix now. If we can bring that up right quick. Or actually, all right, we'll go with this one. This is actually Jordan. Justin Chan, who plays Jordan. He has a movie on Netflix called Gook, which is based on, he wrote it, stars in it, directs it, and it's based on the Korean shooting of a Korean man in LA after the LA riots. So catch that on Netflix, as well as
Bad Match.
Bad Match is actually, I'm gonna see both of these because this is like Fatal Attraction, but Tinder, like based on Tinder. Like you swipe right and you get somebody crazy. So I can't wait. Actually, I think both of these films are gonna actually be really good. They got some really good reviews, so I'm gonna check both of those out. Did you all have any sort of gossip or anything that you wanted to add that you heard?
I just want somebody to tell me if he's single.
Cool.
Justin?
Either. I'll take either.
Okay.
I love Justin.
All
So
right.
cute.
All right.
Jack or
All
Justin,
right.
I will take. If anybody has information, tweet me.
Okay, before we get out of here, people, we're gonna do our predictions, ladies. Woo!
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right, Sherry, let's start with you.
I think in the coming weeks we are going to get to know whether he's a widower or something. There's going to be some spark between the two of the
Dina and Alvarez.
yes.
Yes.
And I think the brother is really going to start plotting on his own to try and escape from jail. I want to see what is going on with him in jail. He's kind of pretty, so
Yeah.
he did not have fun.
I agree.
I predict that, let's say Alvarez and Dina get together, and then when Jonathan gets out, like, I want to see how that, like, now that he's out, how Dina's gonna react, because obviously there is some romantic past there, and like she said, she could never say no to either him or Jonathan. So like there's a lot more story there that I need more information on. I also think there's something up with Jordan, because on his, he may have like a double life or like a past life that we don't know nothing about. So I really want to really get into that a little bit more and discover.
Okay.
And I can't wait for the next case and whatever deception they're gonna come up with. I'm really looking forward
Exactly.
to
I'm
it.
very excited. I think the only thing I really think is I feel like we're gonna get some more of those the initial drug dealers, because I feel like that drug dealer contributed to her sister's death. So I think that's why it was so personal for her. So all right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. Yay! Again, I'm your host, Erika Edwards, and you can follow me and find me on all of my social media at Erika, Erika, D as in door, Edwards, and here are my folks.
You can find me at Real Chae Jones on Twitter and Instagram, Love Shea Butter on Snapchat, and Tuesdays Rise After Show, and Wednesdays Black Lightning Before Deception.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram as Cherry_LA, and on YouTube, Cherry Los Angeles.
All right, you guys, thank you so much. See you again next week, same time, same station. Ciao for now, people.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.